Newcastle United host a historic night at St James's Park with a 4-1 win over PSG in the Champions League. I think the best game I've ever been to watching Newcastle, followed by a good result against West Ham in a 2-2 draw down at the London Stadium that takes us into the international break. Bruno has finally signed that new deal with the club until 2028, but with a rumoured release clause of 100 million that we'll talk about in this video. Mike Ashley, has been back in the news today. It's reported that Amanda Staveley has paid him a pretty chunk of money today. We'll talk about why in this video. And as United Kingdom and Ireland are given Euro 2028, and there will be Euro 2028 games played at St James's Park, could that be the nudge that we need to get that stadium expansion up and running? Reports coming out from the Telegraph as well as others that Newcastle really are putting their heads together to try and make that stadium expansion happen. And could it be in time for those Euro games on, a European, on a world stage? We will talk about all of that in today's video. Welcome back to Toon Tuesdays, your weekly roundup of Newcastle United news, a series that I've been doing for a fair few years now. And despite the fact that it's the international break, there is always stuff to talk about in the world of Newcastle United. I know loads of you guys watch this video every week but still haven't hit that subscribe button, so if that's you, please do. It really helps me, it helps the channel. Drop a like. Getting close to 45,000 subscribers. 50,000 isn't that far away, which is just insane. So help support, press the button. And I do want to say a quick shout out to my patrons as well. We're up to 13 patrons now. I do extra behind the scenes. I posted my first blooper reel from the game the other weekend against Burnley when I did a bar crawl. If you think these videos are done in one take, I appreciate your flattery, but especially when you've had a few beers, it can take more than one. So that was a good video. Posting extra content over there. It's £5 a month. It helps support the channel. Go and check it out. Link is in the description. But we'll start things off talking about the game against PSG on Wednesday. I could probably do a whole Toon Tuesdays on the PSG game alone because it was sensational. My vlog of the day was 35 minutes. It's the longest vlog I've ever done. I could have done 2 hours of it, to be honest. It was incredible. The atmosphere. I got to the stadium half an hour before kickoff. Normally go in, 5-10 minutes before from the pub and you get your seat. And half an hour I got in there early, and it was already full. The flags were flying. I was one of the late ones getting in there. And, we talk about getting in there, Champions League games, Champions League nights, Champions League music. No one was really talking too much about what will actually happen in the game. And once the music played, you're going, oh, yeah, we actually have to do this. And we didn't just do it, we absolutely rocked it, I think there was so many great individual performances across the pitch, but I think the big thing for me was it just showed so much character, so much willpower, and this is it. A team that works harder than anybody else, runs harder than anybody else. If you give me that, I'll be a happy man. And if we can get a sprinkling of success on top, that would be amazing. So big up the players, big up the win. See you when we get to Paris, I suppose. The next one's actually Dortmund at home, so everyone's already getting excited for another one. Obviously, the PSG fans were definitely making themselves known when they got to Newcastle. I'm interested to see what the Dortmund fans are like. I've got a feeling they'll probably just be on the big market drinking with the Toon fans, but we'll wait and see. And then we moved on very quickly to the game against West Ham. Before the game, I would have taken a draw. At the end of the first half, I would have ripped your arm off for a draw, going in 1-0 down, having got nowhere near their goal. Isak scores 2. We're cruising, and we concede with a minute to go. And then I'm thinking, a draw, is that it? Yeah, I saw, yes, and Eddie Howe was disappointed himself, having let that goal in. That, 2 points at the end of the season could be a big deal, but we're still early on. I think, as I say, I would have taken the draw before we started. I would have taken the draw at half-time. To say that I'm disappointed after drawing, it doesn't really work. Having said that, if we could have just held on that minute longer, and it was West Ham who were pushing for the last 6 minutes. At that point, I'm thinking, God, I hope the game ends. So yeah, took the draw, and look, from international break to international break, what is it? 5 wins, 2 draws, or something like that. AC Milan, win against PSG, win against Man City, 8-0 against Sheffield United. Hasn't been too bad. And as we head into this international break, we've seen a bunch of players go away. Bruno's head off. Isak actually has returned with injury. That's an interesting one because obviously Callum Wilson I thought we would have seen more of in the game at the weekend. Is he still nursing a knock? If Isak's got a knock, who will we see up front? Could it be Anthony Gordon's time to try out the number 9, or are we already looking at that January window and thinking, yeah, striker would probably do us well. Speaking of Anthony Gordon, a player who is being linked to a potential call-up with England, someone who was left out. Longstaff was left out. Porpy was left out. I mean, you've got to look at some of them players and think, come on, surely they are ready for a time in the England squad, or really all across the pitch. Tonali's gone away with Italy. With Saka getting injured from Arsenal, is it Gordon's chance? I think Gordon has been sensational, but it's Southgate. And actually, as much as I'm sure Longstaff and Gordon would love to go, I don't mind them having a 2-week chill with Eddie Howe to working on tactics. Because that's the thing. Previously, international breaks are great for us, right? Every other team go off. We'll have 2 weeks to practice what we're going to do next. Have a break. It's not quite the same now. We've got lots of players who are getting very good or going away. But in terms of a Joe Linton, in terms of a Botman, in terms of a Wilson, in terms of an Isak, maybe it is the right timing to give some of these guys a break. But I mentioned one of the players who is going away is Bruno. And he has finally signed that new contract with the club. It's been rumoured, reported, talked about for blooming ages. And as to why it took so long, we aren't 100% sure. It's now till 2028, so 5 years more of Bruno. He's clearly loving it at the moment. He had a bit of a slow start, maybe because of the contract talks in the background. Might well have been exactly why. He had other things on his mind rather than concentrating on the pitch, but really starting to knit things together again. I said this in the previous year. It's not just Bruno, actually. I think it's a lot of our side, and it's just football in general, actually. It's a confidence game. It's a confidence game. When you're playing well, when you're beating Sheffield United 3-0 at half-time, when you come out and they've given up, you can score 4-5, because we are a very good side, and when we believe, we show it. It was the same with PSG. As soon as we went a couple of goals off, I'm thinking, hang on. We've got this. Really, really worked for it. The opposite of that is going 1-0 down against West Ham after 80 minutes and everyone going, oh, right, how do we put the ball in the goal again? So that's something that Eddie Howe really needs, because then they come out second half and the blast it, and clearly, as I say, Eddie Howe's had the wallpaper off the walls again, because that seems to be a thing that keeps happening at half-time. Team talk will come out as a different side. This chalk and cheese talk that we keep having. Clearly gave them something to fight for, came out, boom, 15 minutes, amazing. It's just trying to get that. Well, as I say, if you could take that and bottle it up and sell it, you'd be a billionaire. But it's trying to get that all the time, not just a slow start, then we're good, and then we'll come back. And there is flaws to a game. It's very hard to be there all the time. Even Man City getting beat the other day. Nobody's unbeatable, but it's hard to be there all the time, but it's just trying to hit your moments of when you do it. And we are very good at that. It's just trying to be a bit more consistent with it. But anyway, Bruno's contract. Yeah, so it's reported that he's taking quite a big pay increase, which I'm sure he's very, very happy about. And obviously he's put on an extra extension on his contract. So it's rewarding the player. It's a bit of safety for us because it means that we have got that longer contract. A lot of these days, players are winding them down to a day, a year, and then they try and move on for free and get big wages somewhere else. So us putting a big 5-year on is great for Bruno because it means he's guaranteed the money. It's great for us because we're guaranteed that if a club did come in, they're not just going to say to him, well, you know what, wait a year. Wait one more year and then we'll just take him anyway. Or he's only got a year left. We're not paying the full price for him. 5 year. You know, if anybody's coming in now, they're playing full whack. £100 million release clause is what is rumoured to also be part of that. Funnily enough, that part wasn't announced in Newcastle's announcement, which I don't blame them for. But I think it's potentially Bruno trying to protect himself a little bit. The thing is with Newcastle now, if someone comes in and offers us 100 million for Bruno, we just go, no, not interested. The reckon Liverpool did it in the summer. 100 million? No. Like, that's where we are now. That's mental. You know, 100 million for a player is a lot, and I know football's changed and the price of players is going up and up and up, but you know, that's still a hell of a lot of money to say no to. Bearing in mind, if we sold Bruno for 100 million based on FFP, that would be 500 million that we could spend over the next 5 years. And not to think that we will sell Bruno, but I think maybe in the summer there could be somebody who we maybe see move on in order to, like with Maxi, initiate purchases of other players. But the point is that we can say no. We don't have to sell anyone. We can just go, no. We've got the Adidas coming in. We've got the Champions League coming in. Big offer comes in and Bruno's looking going, oh, Real Madrid, Barcelona or whoever. And he's going, oh, maybe I would. And I go, no. You know, so it's almost like, and I'm not saying Bruno wants to go, but it's him kind of saying like, if Newcastle are going to let him go, it's got to be for 100 million. So it's kind of a bit of both, really. It's Bruno having the option to still go, potentially. Like, Newcastle have to accept it, but it means that Newcastle, it's not 50 million, it's not 60 million, it is 100 million. You know, so if Real Madrid do want him, they're going to have to get their wallet out for it. So it goes both ways. So let me know your thoughts on the Bruno contract down below. Mike Ashley. Well, I was going to say he's back. He's not back, thankfully. It is reported, however, that there was a bit going on between Mike Ashley and Amanda Staveley, and I will say allegedly throughout this video, just to be careful with it being lawsuits and everything else. So allegedly, there was a £10 million takeover loan paid to the club to basically help things get over the line. Mike Ashley allegedly took Amanda Staveley to court, believing that she briefed journalists against him, allegedly, which is basically why it got taken to court. Well, it's now being reported by the Telegraph that Amanda Staveley has paid Mike Ashley that 10 million, and that is all over. It's also reported that he also tried to sue Murdad on it, as well, as he was the holder of the loan. Yeah, I know, it's over my head a little bit as well, but the point was that Mike Ashley's gone and taken £10 million for himself, but it's understood that is him no longer a part or involved. So there you go. Big Mike is still somehow making the headlines 2 years after the takeover, and that's pretty much how that's all come to fruition as well, because it was the 2-year takeover just the other day. Happy takeover day for everyone, you know, how quickly things have moved on and off the pitch. And you know, speaking of off the pitch, speaking of St James's Park, speaking of seats expansions and everything else, the Telegraph wrote a quite in-depth report over the weekend on the fact that Newcastle are continuing to monitor and work on the options of expanding St James's Park in the hope to extend both the Gallowgate and the East Stand for a combined increase of 13,000 seats, which would take St James's Park up to around a 65,000 seater. At the same time, England, I keep saying England, UK and Ireland. So England have got 6 stadiums involved, Scotland have got 1, Wales have got 1, Northern Ireland have got 1, and Ireland have got 1 as well. And those are all the stadiums that will be used in the Euro 2028. St James's Park is one of them. And look, we could fill an extra 13,000 seats tomorrow. You know, we haven't got to wait for the Euros to come round to do it. But in terms of where Newcastle are right now and what we are trying to do with the club, the players, the stadium, the training ground, and the fan zone coming very soon as well. Where on that list does Mandy and Murdad have stadium expansion? That's the thing, because I think it's quite high on the fans list at the minute, especially for tickets and seats. It's all quite tough right now. That people want to hear more about that. I think Newcastle at the moment have kind of gone down a bit of a different route and have kind of looked at the fan zone. No, that's straight away, overnight. Well, they were hoping for the start of the year. I don't think that's going to be the case. Maybe coming into Easter time. There's a 4,000-seater fan zone outside the stadium. That hasn't taken us 3 years to build. That hasn't made us potentially put the East Stand out of use for 2 years while we increase it. Because that's the thing you've got to remember. Yes, it might be 13,000 more seats, but it's potentially 15 to 20,000 less seats for 2 years while they build it, unless they try and nail as much of it as possible across a summer window. Whereas the fan zone, that will have no impact on the stadium. There's 4,000 people who can go and watch the game outside the stadium, not necessarily 3 o'clock kickoffs, but can hear the stadium roar, can make sure it's like wired up live so that the roar isn't a split second before the TV is. But that's where they can. It's like. It's not like quick wins, but it's like we've got this list is like rolling down your legs and out the door. What on this list can we nail now? Yep. Trying to find a way to increase the East Stand without blocking out the light, and how to do the Gallagher without it's tough, but it just so happens that literally as this kind of reports and revelations are coming out through a few different outlets, it's all kind of happening at the same time as the UK and Ireland are winning the bid for Euro 2028. And what better nudge to give the owners than the fact that really it's not that the Premier League's not global anyway, but it really will be a spectacle. There's only 6 stadiums in England that are getting used, plus again one from Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland and Ireland. There will be a lot of people watching, and to kind of have that as to aim for, I think is possibly on the agenda. So let me know your thoughts on that down below. Is 2028 too far away? That's 5 years. We want the stadium expanded now, or is that the reality of it, that it will take time, and maybe that is a possible kind of time frame to see that kind of thing happening? You let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know your thoughts on the possibility of stadium expansion. I mean, one thing that has kind of got people talking a little bit as well is that in the hope to increase the East Stand, one thing that's also kind of talked about and reported is corporate seats. That's something that we've seen quite a lot of in St James at the moment. We've kind of seen it in the Gallagher. We've seen it over in the Leazes with wings. Whereas in the East Stand, there isn't really anything there. You could probably bet your money that as part of an increase to the East Stand, new suite of boxes, or maybe a new corporate part down the middle, which really isn't helping as much. And is 13,000 seats enough? Because really you'd like to hope that to increase 2 stands would amount to more than that. Or is that because such a big part of it's taken over by corporate, it's actually funneling down the number of seats? You can let me know down below. Thank you for watching Toon Tuesdays, guys. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. As I say, if you're still watching, 20 minutes later, drop a like, subscribe, help me get to that 45,000, and yeah, check out my Patreon as well. As I say, £5 a month helps me, it helps the channel. I'm looking to do more on that every day. Extra videos, as well as behind the scenes videos, bloopers, and I'm hoping to try and post a few extra bits as well. So check it out, link in the description. Alright guys, thanks for watching as always, and I'll catch you later.